I love you. I made a terrible mistake. But we can fix it. My wife downplayed the fallout of her 6-month affair. I told the other man's wife the truth, and now I'm the one rebuilding my life after her betrayal. My name is Christopher Lawson, Chris to most. I'm 48 years old, and for the last 23 years, I have been dedicated to fixing things. Broken boilers, burst pipes, and faulty wiring in commercial buildings across 3 counties. I work for Davidson Property Management, one of the largest in the state. It is an honest job, the kind that leaves you tired at the end of the day, but satisfied knowing you kept the offices warm, that you kept the businesses running. I have always been a guy who fixes things, who solves problems. I never thought I would face one I could not fix with my hands and a toolbox. I married Melissa 20 years ago. I met her at a friend's barbecue. She was a nurse back then. She worked the night shift at County General. She had a pretty smile, a sharp wit, and that way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. We had our first son, Lucas, a year later. He is 14 now, smart as a whip, plays baseball, and has his mother's stubborn streak. Then came Olivia, 12 years old. Sweet as sugar but tough when she needs to be. She has my eyes and her mother's determination. For years, everything felt solid. We had routines, traditions, Sunday dinners, summer camping trips, and Friday movie nights. Eventually, Melissa moved from nursing to office management at a medical clinic downtown. Better hours, she said, more time with the kids. I believed her. I believed it all. It all started 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday afternoon. I came home late from a job at the Riverside office complex, a burst pipe on the 4th floor. It took me 6 hours to fix it. I was exhausted, covered in grime, wanting nothing more than a hot shower and whatever was left in the fridge. The house was quiet. Lucas was upstairs doing his homework. Olivia was at a friend's house for a sleepover. Melissa was in the living room, curled up on the couch with her laptop, half watching some reality show. I went upstairs, shed my work clothes, and stepped into the shower. The hot water felt like heaven on my aching shoulders. When I got out, I noticed Melissa's purse on her dresser. It had tipped over, and some of its contents had spilled out. Keys, lip balm, receipts. I started picking things up. I was not snooping, just tidying up. That is when I saw it. A receipt from the Grand View, a fancy place about 40 minutes out of town in the hills. The kind of place where anniversaries are celebrated, where couples go to get away. The date was from 2 weeks ago, a Thursday. Melissa had told me she was working late that night. A staff meeting that ran long. She had gotten home around 11, apologized for missing dinner, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and went straight to bed. The receipt showed 2 charges, dinner for 2 at their restaurant, a bottle of wine, and a room, a deluxe suite with a king bed. My hands froze. I read it again, hoping I had misunderstood, but it was crystal clear. The name on the credit card authorization was hers. And at the bottom, in small print, the name of a guest, Peterson B. I did not know any Peterson. She had never mentioned that name. I stood there in my bathroom, dripping water on the tile floor, staring at that receipt as if it could suddenly explain itself. My mind raced through the possibilities. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe she had helped a coworker book a room, using her card as a favor. Maybe Peterson was a supplier, a vendor, someone from the clinic. Maybe I was jumping to conclusions, but my gut knew I was not. 20 years of marriage teaches you things. You learn your spouse's rhythm, the patterns, the tells, and something about this felt wrong, like a pipe that has been leaking behind the walls for months before you finally see the damage. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Melissa was coming up. I quickly stuffed the receipt into the pocket of my jeans, put on a t-shirt, and stepped out of the bathroom, trying to look normal. "Hey," she said, appearing in the doorway. "You okay? You look pale." "Just tired," I replied, forcing a smile. "A long day." She nodded, turning her attention back to her phone. "Lucas needs help with his history project. Something about the Civil War. Can you go check on him?" "Yeah, sure." I went down the hall to Lucas's room. My son was sitting at his desk, surrounded by books and printouts. His laptop was open to some documentary video. "Dad, check this out," Lucas said without looking up. "Did you know more Americans died in the Civil War than in World War I and World War II combined?" "I did not know that," I said, trying to focus. "That is pretty wild, buddy." He finally looked at me. "You okay? You seem distracted." Smart kid, sometimes too smart, I thought. "Just work stuff," I told him. "Nothing for you to worry about." Show me what you have so far. We spent the next hour working on his project, and it helped calm my racing thoughts, but the receipt burned in my pocket like a lit match. After saying goodnight to Lucas and checking that Melissa was in bed, I went back downstairs. I sat at the kitchen table with my phone and did something I had never done before. I looked up the Grandview's website. Luxury accommodations, romantic getaways, starting at $300 a night. The King Suite was $450. I pulled up our joint bank account on my phone and scrolled back 2 weeks. There was a $473 charge to the Grandview on the same date as the receipt. I had seen it before, but had not paid attention. Money came and went. We both had access. I trusted her. I sat in the dark kitchen with the only light coming from my phone screen and felt something shift inside me. This was not a fluke, not a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was real. The next morning, I waited until Melissa had left for work and the kids were at school. Then I called my best friend, Jason Turner. We had known each other since high school. We worked construction together in our 20s before I went into property management. He had been my best man. He was Lucas's godfather. If there was anyone I could trust with this, it was him. Jason, I said when he answered, I need to talk. Can you meet for coffee? Sure, man. Everything okay? You sound weird. Meet me at the Rivery Diner. Half an hour. I will be there. Jason was already waiting at the Riversy Diner when I arrived. He was sitting in a corner booth with a coffee in front of him, a look of concern on his face. I slid in across from him and got straight to the point. Melissa is cheating on me, I said quietly. His face hardened. Are you sure? I pulled out the receipt and showed it to him. Then I pulled up the bank statement on my phone. Jason studied both, his jaw tightening. Peterson, he muttered. Do you know who that is? No idea. I have never heard her mention the name. Jason leaned back, running a hand through his hair. What do you want to do? I need proof. Real proof. Not just a receipt and a gut feeling. If this goes to court, if I'm going to fight for my kids, I need to have everything. Smart, Jason said, nodding. Are you thinking about a lawyer? Eventually. But first, I need to know what I'm up against. How long has this been going on? Who is this guy? Everything. Jason pulled out his phone. My cousin is a private investigator in Newton County. He does mostly corporate stuff, but he takes on domestic cases too. The guy is discreet, thorough. Do you want me to call him? Yeah, call him. We spent the next hour planning it out. Jason would contact his cousin. I would keep a log of Melissa's schedule. I would note every late night, every unexplained absence. I would be careful, methodical. No confrontations yet. I would not tip my hand. You okay, man? Jason asked as we got up to leave. This is a lot to take. I'm handling it, I told him. I have to for Lucas and Olivia. That night at dinner, I watched Melissa across the table. She was laughing at something Olivia said. She was helping Lucas with his geometry homework between bites of chicken. She seemed so normal, so much like the woman I married. My chest ached. After the kids went to bed, she came up behind me as I was loading the dishwasher and wrapped her arms around my waist. You have been quiet tonight, she said softly. Just tired. Big project at the Riverside complex. She kissed my shoulder. Well, do not stay up too late. You need your rest. I nodded, not trusting my voice. 2 days later, I met with Jason's cousin, Dale Pritchard. He was in his 50s, ex-cop, with the build of someone who still hit the gym regularly. We met at his office in Newton, a small second-floor space above a hardware store. Jason filled me in, Dale said, shaking my hand. Sorry you are going through this. Thanks. What do you need from me? Everything you have. Her schedule, the receipt, bank statements, any names or locations. I will do surveillance, document her movements, take pictures if needed. My rate is $100 an hour plus expenses. Fine, whatever it takes. I handed him copies of everything. He studied the receipt closely. Peterson, he said, have you searched for that name on social media? Work connections? Not yet. Do it. He could be a vendor, a colleague, someone connected to her clinic. People leave digital footprints everywhere these days. That afternoon, I sat in my truck in the parking lot of a job site and searched Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. After 20 minutes, I found him. Brad Peterson, 42, sales representative for Grione Medical Supply. His LinkedIn showed he worked with dental and medical clinics throughout the region. He was handsome in that polished, well-shaved, expensive suits in his pictures, bright smile kind of way. His Facebook was mostly private, but his profile picture showed him at some work conference with his arm around a colleague. I stared at his face for a long time. This was the man my wife was meeting in hotels. This was who she was choosing over 20 years of marriage, over our family. I saved screenshots of everything and sent them to Dale. Then I drove home and kissed my kids goodnight like nothing was wrong. Dale worked fast. Within a week, he had a 3-inch thick file, photos, timestamps, surveillance logs. He spread it all out on his desk as I sat across from him, my stomach in knots. "Your wife meets Peterson every Thursday night," he said, Dale sliding a series of photos towards me. "They vary the location. Different hotels, always within a 40-minute radius. She leaves the clinic around 6, drives directly to wherever they are meeting. He arrives separately, usually 15 minutes after her." I looked at the photos. Melissa getting out of her car at the Grandview. Another of her at the S of RY Hotel, another at the Pineview Lodge. In each one, Brad Peterson appeared shortly after, walking through the same door. "They stay for an average of 3 hours, Dale continued. "Sometimes they have dinner first at the hotel restaurant. Sometimes they go straight to the room." "How long has this been going on?" My voice came out rougher than I intended. Dale glanced at his notes. "Based on the credit card records you provided and what I have observed, at least 6 months, probably longer." 6 months, a half a year of lies. Of her kissing me goodnight after spending the evening with another man. "There's more," he said. Dale, his expression grim. "Peterson is married. His wife's name is Janet Peterson. They have 2 kids, 8 and 10. He lives in Brookfield, about 30 miles east of here." Something clicked in my mind. His wife knows. Not that I can tell. But that is your call, not mine. I just gather the facts. I took the file and paid Dale his fee in cash. "Thanks for your help. I'm sorry it turned out this way," he said, shaking my hand. "For what it is worth, you have everything you need for court. Good luck." That afternoon, I sat in my truck across the street from Janet Peterson's address. It was a nice suburban house, manicured lawn, a basketball hoop in the driveway. I watched through the front window as she moved around the kitchen, making dinner. 2 kids ran past, laughing. A normal family, like mine used to be. I made a decision. Then, Janet deserved to know. She deserved the same truth I had been searching for. I got out of my truck and walked to the front door. I rang the bell. A moment later, a blonde woman in her late 30s opened it. "Can I help you?" she asked, politely but cautiously. "Mrs. Peterson, my name is Chris Lawson. I think we need to talk about your husband, Brad." Her face paled slightly. "I do not understand. He has been having an affair with my wife for the last 6 months. I have proof. May I come in?" She stared at me for a long moment, then stepped aside. We sat at her kitchen table. I showed her everything. The photos, the hotel receipts, the timeline. She did not cry. She did not scream. She just sat there, taking it all in with a terrible calm. "I suspected something," she said finally, her voice hollow. "He has been distant, always working late. But I told myself I was being paranoid." "I did the same thing," I admitted. She looked at me, and there was steel in her eyes. "What are you going to do?" "Divorce her. Get custody of my kids. Make sure she loses everything that matters." Janet nodded slowly. "I want to help. Whatever you need. He is not going to destroy this family and get away with it either," she said. We shook hands. An alliance forged in betrayal. Living with Melissa became a kind of torture. Every smile felt like a knife. Every casual touch, a betrayal. But I kept my face neutral. I played the part of the unsuspecting husband. I had to, not yet. Not until everything was in place. Lucas was the first to notice. We were in the garage on a Saturday afternoon, fixing his bike. The chain had come off, and I was showing him how to fix it. "Dad, can I ask you something?" he said, wiping grease from his hands. "Sure, buddy. Are you and Mom okay? You guys seem weird." I looked at my son, 14 and already too perceptive for his own good. I could not lie to him, but I could not tell him everything either. "We are going through some things," I said carefully. "Grown-up stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. But I do worry. Olivia does too. She asked me last night if you and Mom are getting a divorce." That hit me harder than I expected. I put down the wrench and looked at him directly. "Lucas, I need you to listen. Whatever happens between your mother and me, you and Olivia are my priority, always. I will never let anything hurt you. Understood?" He nodded, but I could see the fear in his eyes. "Is it bad?" "It is complicated, but I'm handling it. I promise." That night, Jason came over with beer and Chinese takeout. We sat on the back porch while Melissa took the kids to a movie. I had made sure she was busy. I have the lawyer lined up, Jason said, pulling out his phone. Her name is Catherine Reynolds. She is tough. Been in family law for 15 years. Will not take any nonsense from the other side. Good. When can I see her? Monday afternoon. I already set it up. 2 o'clock at her office. He paused. Are you ready for this, Chris? Once you pull this trigger, there is no going back. I have been ready since I found that receipt. Jason nodded. And the kids? That is what keeps me up at night. But I would rather they see me fight for them than see me pretend everything is okay while their mother destroys this family. Monday came. Catherine Reynolds' office was downtown on the 5th floor of an old building. She was in her late 40s, a sharp suit, and an even sharper gaze. We shook hands, and she gestured to a chair. Jason tells me you need representation, she said, getting straight to the point. Tell me what is happening. I laid it all out for her. The affair, the evidence, Dale's investigation, my conversation with Janet Peterson. Catherine took notes, asking blunt questions. This is solid, she said when I finished. With this evidence, you will get primary custody. The affair plays heavily in your favor, especially with the kids' ages. The courts do not like parents who prioritize affairs over family and assets. The house is in both our names. Yes, but I have been paying the mortgage for 20 years. Her income goes to household expenses, but the property payments are all me. We will argue for you to keep the house. She will get some financial settlement, but given the circumstances, it will not be 50-50ths. I leaned forward. I want this done cleanly. I do not want to drag my kids through a war. Catherine's expression softened slightly. I understand, but be prepared. When she realizes what is happening, she might play dirty. People do when they are cornered. Let her try. 2 weeks later, Melissa told me she had a business conference in Atlanta, a 3-day medical office management seminar. She showed me the itinerary, the hotel confirmation. It all looked legit. It will be good for the clinic, she said, packing her suitcase. Networking, new management techniques, might even lead to a promotion. Sounds great, I said, watching her fold clothes into neat piles. She kissed me before she left. Take care of the kids. Lucas has baseball practice on Wednesday. Olivia has her art class on Thursday. I have got it under control. I watched her drive away. I watched her car disappear down the street. Then I turned to Jason, who was waiting in his truck a block down. She is gone. I'm on my way. I texted him. For the next 6 hours, we worked like men possessed. I had already moved most of my important things into the storage unit I had rented under my name only. My tools, photo albums, my grandfather's watch, documents, anything of real value. Now we were clearing out the rest. Clothes, shoes, my side of the bathroom. Everything went into boxes and bags. Jason's truck made 3 trips to the storage unit. We worked in silence, mostly efficient, methodical. You sure about this? Jason asked on the second trip. This is pretty cold, man. She has been lying to my face for 6 months. She does not deserve a warm goodbye. By nightfall, my presence in that house had been erased. No razor in the bathroom, no coffee mug in the cupboard, no work boots by the door. It looked like I had never existed there. The hardest part was the kids. Lucas and Olivia were at their grandmother's, Melissa's mom's, for the week. I had arranged it carefully. I told them I had a big project at work and needed to focus. They would be back on Friday, the same day Melissa returned, but they would not be coming back to the same house. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen table, filed and ready. Next to them, a thick envelope with copies of all the evidence, photos, hotel receipts, Dale's investigation report, bank statements, everything. I also left a letter. Not an apology, not an explanation, just facts. Melissa, by the time you read this, I will be gone. You have been having an affair with Brad Peterson for at least 6 months. I have proof of everything. The divorce papers are filed. My lawyer will be in touch. The kids will be staying with me. You made your choice. Now live with it. Chris. Jason helped me load the last of the boxes into my truck. Where are you going? To an apartment I rented on the other side of town. 2 bedrooms. It is small, but it is clean. Furniture arrives tomorrow, and the kids. I'm picking them up on Friday. I will take them to the new place. I will explain everything in a way they can handle. Jason squeezed my shoulder. You are doing the right thing, brother. Those kids need stability. They need a parent who does not lie. I nodded. unable to speak around the lump in my throat. That night, I slept in my new apartment. It was quiet, empty, but it was honest. No more pretending, no more lies. When Melissa came home on Friday afternoon and walked into that empty house, when she read that letter and saw those photos, her world would shatter, just like mine had 6 weeks ago. Melissa's flight landed on Friday at 4 p.m. I know because Janet Peterson texted me. We had been coordinating, keeping each other informed. She had confronted Brad 2 days before, and according to her, he had completely fallen apart. He is staying at his brother's, her text read. I have already contacted the lawyer. I'm taking him for everything. Good, I replied. Stay strong. I was at my new apartment when my phone started vibrating. Melissa. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again and again, 12 times in 20 minutes. Then the text started. Chris, where are you? The house is empty. What is happening? Please call me. I'm scared. I found the papers. We need to talk. This is insane. You cannot just leave like this. I read each one without responding. Jason was sitting across from me, watching. Cold, man, he said, shaking his head. But effective. My phone rang again. This time it was Lucas calling from his grandmother's. Dad, Mom just called Grandma crying. She says you left. What is going on? I closed my eyes, bracing myself. This was the part one had been dreading. Lucas, I need you to listen carefully. Your mother and I are getting a divorce. I found out she has been lying to us. The whole family. I had to leave. Lying about what? Grown-up stuff. I will explain everything when I see you tomorrow, but right now, I need you to know that you and Olivia are safe. I'm not going anywhere. I have a new place set up for us. We are going to live with you. Yes, I'm picking you both up tomorrow morning. We will talk then. Okay. There was a long pause. Okay, Dad. Is Mom going to be okay? That question hurt. Even now, my son was worried about her. Your mom made some choices, Lucas. She will have to face the consequences, but that is not your responsibility. You focus on school, on baseball, on being a kid. Let me handle the adult problems. Okay. I love you, Dad. I love you too, son. Saturday morning came. I drove to Melissa's mother's house to pick up the kids. Lucas met me at the door, his face serious beyond his years. Olivia was behind him, clutching her backpack. Hey, champ, I said, kneeling down to Olivia's level. Ready to see our new home? Is it nice? She asked quietly. It has a backyard and your own room. I think you will like it. On the drive, I explained everything as simply as I could. Their mother had been seeing someone else. I found out and decided we could not be together anymore, but I wanted them to know it was not their fault. Nothing they did caused this. Lucas stared out the window, processing. Olivia was crying silently in the back seat. Will we still get to see Mom? Olivia asked. Of course. She is still your mother. This is between her and me, not you guys. The new apartment felt smaller with them in it, but it was a home. Lucas inspected his room and gave a nod of approval at the baseball posters I had hung up. Olivia carefully arranged her stuffed animals on her bed. That afternoon, Melissa showed up. I was expecting it. She knocked hard, then rang the doorbell repeatedly. I opened the door but stood in the doorway, blocking the entrance. What do you want? She looked terrible. Red eyes, disheveled hair, still in the same clothes from the flight. We need to talk, Chris, please. You cannot just throw away 20 years. I'm not throwing anything away. You already did that. It was a mistake, a stupid, terrible mistake. But we can fix it. No, Melissa. We cannot. Melissa's face contorted. You will not even let me explain. Explain what? 6 months of hotels with Brad Peterson? The lies? I know everything, Melissa. I have photos, receipts, a full investigation report. There is nothing to explain. She turned pale. You hired someone to follow me? I did what I had to do. You want to know the really pathetic part? His wife did not know either. Janet Peterson, a nice woman, 2 kids. I had to tell her that her husband was spending their money on hotels with you. Melissa recoiled as if I had struck her. You told his wife? She deserved to know, just like I deserved to know. Chris, please. Tears were streaming down her face now. I love you. I made a horrible mistake, but I love you. We have kids together. We have a life. We had a life. Past tense. You destroyed it the first time you checked into a hotel with him. It is over with Brad. I ended it. I swear. I do not care. It does not matter if it is over. The damage is done. Lucas appeared behind me in the hallway. Dad, is everything okay? Melissa saw him, and her expression shattered. Lucas, honey. Lucas's face was hard. I heard everything, Mom. I heard Dad on the phone with Jason. I know what you did. My 14-year-old son looked at his mother with something close to contempt. Lucas, please, try to understand. Understand what? That you lied to us? That you chose some other guy over Dad? Over us? It was not like that. Then what was it like? Lucas snapped, his voice rising. Because from where I'm standing, you lied every single day. You looked us in the face, and you lied. I put a hand on Lucas's shoulder. Go check on your sister, son. I have got this. He hesitated, then nodded and left. Melissa watched him go, sobbing openly now. My kids hate me. Your kids are hurt. There is a difference. But that is on you to fix, not me. Chris, I'm begging you. Give me another chance. For them, for our family. I looked at the woman I had spent 20 years with. There was a time when she was everything to me. Now, she was just someone who had made choices I could not forgive. The divorce papers are filed, Melissa. My lawyer will be in touch about custody arrangements. You can see the kids, but it will be scheduled and supervised at first. Supervised? You think I would hurt them? I think you have hurt them enough already. Now, get off my property. This is not over, Chris. Yes, it is. You just have not accepted it yet. She stood there for a long moment, then turned and walked back to her car. I watched her drive away. Then I closed the door and locked it. Lucas was sitting on the couch when I came back in. You okay, Dad? I will be. We all will be. Because what I said was serious. What she did was wrong. I sat down next to him. I know, son, but she is still your mom. Eventually, you will have to find a way to forgive her for your own peace. Maybe, but not today. Not today, I nodded. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in my small living room and felt something I had not felt in months. Relief. The secret was out. The lies were exposed. Whatever came next, at least it would be honest. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine Reynolds, my lawyer. Her lawyer has been in touch. They want to negotiate. Meeting set for Tuesday. Be ready. I texted back. I'm ready. Let's get this over with. Months passed like water under a bridge. The divorce settled faster than I expected. Catherine had been right. With the evidence we presented, the affair documented in painful detail, Melissa had no leg to stand on. I got primary custody of Lucas and Olivia. She got supervised visits every other weekend and on Wednesday afternoons. The house was sold. We split the proceeds, though I got more given my documented contributions. She moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. Last I heard, she had lost her job at the clinic. Too many people knew about the affair. Small towns have long memories. Brad Peterson did not fare much better. Janet took him to the cleaners in their divorce. He lost his job when his company found out he had been expensing personal trips as business expenses. Last Jason heard, Brad was living with his brother and working in a retail store. As for me, I took the leap I had been considering for years. I used my share of the house sale and opened Lauson Property Services, commercial building maintenance and repair. Just me and two guys I had worked with at Navidson. We landed 3 contracts in the first month. By the 6th month, we had a waiting list. Lucas was doing better. His grades improved. Baseball season went well. He had started seeing a therapist to work through his feelings about his mother. The progress was slow, but it was happening. Olivia had a harder time. She was quieter. She drew pictures of fractured families and broken houses, but she had settled into our new routine. Movie nights, Sunday pancakes, just the 3 of us finding our rhythm. And then there was Catherine Reynolds, my lawyer. After the divorce was finalized, she called to check in. We met for coffee, then dinner, then Friday nights on a regular basis when the kids were with their mom. She was easy to talk to. She understood what I had been through in a way most could not. She had been divorced herself 5 years ago, no kids, but she knew betrayal. She knew what it meant to rebuild. One evening, we were at her place. The kids were with Melissa for the weekend. Catherine cooked while I told her about landing a new contract with a hospital complex. You have really built something, she said, putting plates on the table. Most people would still be licking their wounds. Staying around feeling sorry for myself was not going to change anything. I had to move forward. That is what I admire about you, Chris. You did not let it break you. After dinner, we sat on her porch. It was late summer, a warm night. Crickets were chirping in the yard. Can I ask you something? Catherine said. Shoot. Are we doing this? Are we really doing this? I looked at her, smart, strong, honest, everything Melissa had not been. Yeah, I said. I think we are. She smiled. Good, because I'm all in. 2 weeks later, Melissa showed up at my apartment unannounced. It was a Saturday morning. Catherine had stayed over. She was in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. I opened it. Melissa was standing there, thinner, tired. She saw Catherine behind me, and her face fell. So it is true, Melissa said quietly. You have moved on. What did you expect, Melissa? I do not know. I guess I thought maybe, with time, we could try again. That was never going to happen. She looked over my Caterine, who was standing in the doorway holding 2 mugs of coffee. Is she the reason you left? No, you are the reason I left. Catherine is the reason I'm happy now. There is a difference. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. I lost everything. My marriage, my kids, my job, my own parents barely speak to me. And you have a new business, a new woman, everything. You made your choices, Melissa. The consequences followed. That is how life works. Do not I deserve a second chance? Don't we all make mistakes? Catherine stepped forward, her voice quiet but firm. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or saying something thoughtless. What you did was calculated, repeated, deliberate. Chris gave you 20 years of loyalty. You gave him lies. This is not about second chances. It is about him building a life with people who value honesty. Melissa looked at Catherine, then back at me. I loved you, Chris. Maybe you did, but not enough to be faithful. Not enough to be honest. And that is something I cannot forget or forgive. She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. I guess this is really goodbye. Yes, it is. She walked back to her car. I watched her drive away for the last time. Catherine touched my arm. You okay? Better than okay. For the first time in a long time, I'm exactly where I need to be. The months turned into a year. Lausan Property Services grew. We hired 2 more guys. We expanded into residential work. Lucas was accepted to a summer baseball camp. Olivia joined an art program at the community center. They were healing, slowly but surely. My relationship with Catherine deepened. She met the kids officially, kept appropriate boundaries. She never tried to replace their mother. She just became a stable presence in their lives, someone they could trust. A year after I found that receipt, I was standing in the office of my new business. Framed contracts on the wall. 3 vans parked outside with my company logo. A full schedule for the next 2 months. I had built this from nothing. From the wreckage of a broken marriage. Jason stopped by that afternoon with a 6-pack of beer. Congratulations, man. You made it. Made it where? To the other side. Most guys would still be bitter, angry, stuck. You built a whole new life. I had to, for Lucas and Olivia, for myself, and for Caroline, I smiled. Yeah, and for Caroline. That afternoon, I picked the kids up from their supervised visit with Melissa. They piled into my truck, chattering about their weekend plans. Dad, can Catherine come to my game next week? Lucas asked. If she is free, I'm sure she would love to. Cool. She is pretty awesome, intervened Olivia from the back seat. Can we have pancakes tomorrow? Catherine makes them better than you do. Hey, I protested, smiling. Them's fighting words. We drove home through familiar streets. 3 people rebuilding a family that looked nothing like the one before, but it felt more solid than anything I had had in years. Melissa had destroyed what we had, but in doing so, she had freed me to build something better, something honest, something worth keeping. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on my porch and thought about everything that had changed. Betrayal almost broke me, but I had survived. More than that, I had thrived. Sometimes the hardest thing becomes the best thing. You just have to be willing to walk through the fire to get to the other side. I had walked through it, and now I was finally home.